Hello everyone, my name's Cal. Welcome to another Destiny 2 video. Today, I will be going over episode 2 in my series on new skill block concepts. If you missed the first one that I did on what I called the Way of the Renegade for the Gunslinger last weekend, I'll link it both in the upper right here and in the video description down below. As a quick recap, the purpose of this series is to provide ideas on how our current class system can be improved. It's my personal belief that Bungie will probably iterate upon what they've established for D2, rather than backpedaling to D1's column-based system. The current 2-block format is quite shallow, and I think that the quickest and most efficient way for Bungie to add variety and nuance back to our characters is to simply make new blocks. Again, most people call these skill trees, but I like to call them blocks simply because the 4 perks come part and parcel with one another, not allowing for deviation. I approach making a new block from the mindset of, first and foremost, creating a fun and interesting neutral game for the featured subclass, one which brings together both the old and familiar with the new to keep things fresh. I also try to craft a block with both PvP and PvE in mind, and of course it's all about the power fantasy and providing avenues for skilled players to show off. I know last week that I said that I would probably cover a Titan subclass next, but I haven't quite ironed out my ideas for any of the 3 just yet. Instead, we're going to jump back onto the Hunter to discuss a new block for the Nightstalker. I know, I just heard a collective from my viewers, but hear me out. I know it's been tiring and frustrating having to deal with invis roly-polies for the last 5 months, at least on console that is. The platform that matters anyway. This block won't have anything to do with invisibility, I promise. I think we can all agree that we deserve a break from it. And then on the other hand, I can sense all the Nightstalker mains grabbing their pitchforks because of that statement. But before you skewer me, at least wait until the end of the video to see if you like what I got cooked up here. I think you will. I dubbed this block Way of the Predator. It not only fits the theme of the Nightstalker, but I believe the following 4 perks reward an aggressive and nimble playstyle, characteristics befitting a predator in the wild. Starting with skill number 1, Envenomed. The description of it might read, throw a smoke bomb from a distance with this melee ability. Envenomed adds a toxin that damages enemies trapped within. This skill was conspicuously absent with the launch of D2, and I would love to see it return. I would have it behave the same way that it did in D1. Like D1, smoke already deals a small amount of damage to enemies' health, especially when stuck, and follows up with 1 extra small tick of damage. Envenomed would simply increase the number of ticks themselves with an increase in damage per tick. And I'll just leave it to the developers to playtest the specific values for balance. Right off the bat, you can probably tell where I'm going with this. Envenomed was 1/2 of the notorious Wombo combo. Pairing an Envenomed smoke with either Vortex or Void Wall made for incredibly potent damage. Additionally, a D1 Nightstalker often ran Lockdown alongside these 2 to make them last twice as long. In D2, however, the Wombo can still be performed, but Lockdown is already taken by another block, so I feel bringing Envenomed back keeps its damage potential fair. Instead, I've designed skill number 2 to complement the Wombo style. For skill 2, I've come up with something brand new. I call it Prey Upon. It might read, dodging shortly after a kill significantly boosts grenade regeneration. It's here that the aggressive playstyle of the Predator manifests. My vision for this perk is to reward ambushing enemies with the Wombo. And yes, you did read that correctly, getting a kill means from any source, guns, abilities, super, but this does not include assisted defeats. It's designed to work only when the player performs well. As far as how much gets regenerated, I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of 50% of the total, and it will adjust appropriately per grenade mod equipped. While skills 1 and 2 will work well in PvP, they should also help push hunters more toward the DPS role in PvE. Skill number 3 is another new perk that I've crafted just for the Predator. I call it Nightstalker's Guile. Crouching grants increased ping intervals on your enemy's radar, and dodging leaves behind a spectral image, drawing away enemy attention. Taking away invisibility, it's a pretty big deal for the subclass that's themed after a nocturnal predator, especially after its prevalence since launch. I'm predicting that Invis may be nerfed here in the near future, so I'm providing an alternative playstyle that still allows for cunning play. Guile maintains Nightstalker's deviousness while not granting an unfair drop and aim assist on its hitbox. I believe the first sentence speaks for itself, but the second needs clarification. Drawing attention would mean fooling enemy NPCs into thinking that it's you. And then in PvP, it would give off a solid radar ping for a short period of time, say 5 seconds or so. And then meanwhile, the Nightstalker may have just gotten their grenade back because they may have just gotten the kill, which allows them to ambush a distracted fool. And finally, we have skill number 4, Event Horizon. This is yet another new skill, and it modifies Shadowshot. It might read something like, enemies caught by Shadowshot's tethers are pulled toward its singularity. Enemies close to the singularity take more damage. You may think, holy cow, this sounds a bit overpowered, and that might be somewhat true, so let's work on balancing it a bit. For starters, Event Horizon would only use the tether's default length. It would not be nearly as far-reaching as deadfall tethers, but still much longer than quivers. You'll need to be a bit more precise if you want to catch a roaming super, but getting caught will surely mean certain death. As far as how much extra damage proximity to the singularity will do, let's say it starts at normal along the edge, and then basically touching the middle will provide a 1.5 times multiplier to incoming damage. And that, Lady Guardians and Iron Lords, is Way of the Predator, my fan concept for a new Nightstalker skill block. But as always, I'd love to know what you think. Thoughtful comments are appreciated. Also, what subclass would you like to see given the same treatment next? Since I did Gunslinger and Nightstalker, I may create a new block for the Arcstrider next week, but we'll see how it goes. I also want to give a big shout out to my buddy Nojja, who gave me feedback and ideas for Way of the Predator. Go ahead and do me a big favor and go follow Nojja at these locations. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my content. Have a good one. This has been Cal.